Hello, Manatv International Yogis. Fun to be with you again today. And we're going to go through some backward bending postures. It's interesting to note that when you're doing backward bending, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, and the sympathetic nervous system will trigger the adrenal glands. It also, I'm bending over backwards for you, that expression. It gets you ready to deal with the world about you, the backward bending. Okay, we're going to be doing some wonderful backward bending poses. Parvati, thank you.
Thank you.
So Parvati, thank you again. Let's share some backward bending postures with everyone. So if you wouldn't mind, let's do the Bhujangasana, the Cobra Pose. Would you please lie down on the abdomen? Anyone practicing at home, if you're wearing glasses, it's usually best when you're on your abdomen to set the glasses aside. So, for the Bhujangasana, you have the legs together and the toes back, not the toes curled under, the toes back. You place the hands next to the chest so the elbows are pointed sort of up toward the sky. Forehead is on the floor, and you want to ground through the pubic bone. And you keep that somewhat pressed into the ground. Now, to come into the posture, lengthen through the spine, the torso, and the neck, and raise up the head, the neck, and the chest. Initially, take your hands off the floor for just a moment and see how high you get like that. Now put the hands back down, and you want to lengthen through the neck, not crunch the neck back. The crown of the head is reaching toward the sky, not toward the feet, toward the sky. And now press on the hands and come up another inch, and the arch will move down the back a little bit. Breathe into it. Make sure you're breathing comfortably. You know the breath helps you in your postures. Also, the shoulders are pulled back, the elbows squeezed in, and press up just a little bit more. Your awareness, you look at everything from in between the shoulder blades there. You don't have to focus on that area, but you sit your awareness there and look at everything from that perspective. Now, when you come out, you want to do it with just as much awareness as going in. So gently down, tuck the chin, put the forehead down, put the hands back next to the hips. Let the elbows bend a little to soften the shoulders and chest, and now turn the head to one side. This is a relaxation posture called Advasana. It's nice when you're releasing. Okay, that was Bhujangasana. So, before we move too far from this, let's show one other backward bending posture. This is the Sphinx Pose. Legs together, forehead on the floor again. And now come up as if you're going to come up into Bhujangasana, the Cobra Pose, except place your elbows on the floor underneath the shoulders and your hands out front with the fingers spread. You don't want the elbows out. They're right behind the shoulders. You can bring the elbows in just a little bit. There you go. Perfect. So now you're in position, and you can see it looks very Sphinx-like. Now, without moving the hands at all, or the feet, go ahead and press into the hands and straighten the arms. This moves the arch down, lower on the back. When that happens, be sure to tighten the buttocks some. That protects the lower back. Now, if you're limber, you only do what's comfortable here. You can walk the hands back some and arch back, come up a little higher. You keep the pubic bone grounded. That doesn't come off the floor at all. And you just go back as far as you'd like. And now coming down, lower down. You can come into Cobra for a moment and put the forehead on the floor and turn your head to the other side this time. Let the hands go back, elbows soften, wiggle loose. Let the feet come apart a little. In the Advasana, the prone posture, the heels fall out or in. If your toes are a little closer together, the heels fall out. If you separate the feet a little wider and that's comfortable for you, the heels will fall in. You can try both of those and find whichever is most comfortable for you and do that when you're resting here. Okay, the next posture we're going to do is the Arda Shalabhasana, the half locust pose. So the legs are together and you raise up one half of the body and place the upper arm in front of you, and then roll on top of that arm and lift the other half and put the other arm in front of you, and then lie down on top of the arms. You want the elbows underneath, not out to the sides. Admittedly, when you're getting started here, you may find this somewhat uncomfortable lying on top of the arms, but get the arms underneath. Chin is on the floor in front, shoulders are squeezing toward one another. Now, we're going to raise each leg, but before you raise it, lengthen it. So please lengthen that right leg, stretch it long, and as you do, you're going to feel energy coming into the leg, and then you raise it up and you feel the energy flowing down the leg, bathing the pelvic region. Here, the place you sit your awareness to view things from that perspective is right in that arch in the lower back. You sit your awareness there and look at whatever draws your attention. Breathe into it. The breath is working the posture for you. You might find yourself lifting a little more as you inhale. And now gently down with awareness. Let the leg just rest there, and then the other leg, lengthen it, let it get energized, and then raise it up. Feel the energy flowing down the leg, bathing the pelvic region. Sit your awareness there in the arch in the lower back and view things from that perspective. Little higher, and then gently down. So this is Arda Shalabhasana, the half locust. Wiggle loose, you might relax a little. Parvati doesn't need to so much. So we're going to next do Locust Shalabhasana. In Locust, you raise both legs and the hips up into the air too. You really want your elbows as close as you can. Sometimes you might interlock the fingers and roll the elbows toward each other. Some people like to put one hand on top of the other. Some people like to make fists and put the fists facing each other or facing the floor. Any of those things is fine. Now take a moment, curl the toes under and shift the body weight forward toward the upper chest. Then put the toes back. Take in kind of half of a breath. Push into the hands and arms and use the leg and back muscles to lift the legs and hips off the floor. You may find if your hips don't come too high up off the floor that you can raise one leg a little higher and then the other one up to meet it. Now this is a more strenuous posture and it really changes the way the posture works. It works quite differently. Moves the energy much higher up into the throat and heart, gently down. Now take the hands out next to you, put the forehead down, turn the head to one side, and you'll find after doing Locust that this really stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, and your heart rate will pick up, your breathing pattern will pick up quite notably. That doesn't mean you're a wimp. It means that you've actually accomplish what you were trying to accomplish. You're a good yogi. Now, we're going to do something that Parvati can do, but not everyone can do this. And don't be frustrated if you try this and find it doesn't work for you. Most people find this not ready, something that their body's ready to do. This is called Purva Shalabhasana. It means the full locust. And in this one, the whole torso comes off the ground, and you'll see what it looks like in a moment. There you go. This is and this works very differently. All three of these, the half locust, the locust, and the full locust, have very different benefits one from the other. If you find you cannot do the regular locust when you try, if your thighs don't come off the ground, you want your hips to come off the ground too, but if at least the thighs, just do the half locust. That will strengthen the body and prepare it so it will be able to do locust. This is a different pose. With control, gently down. Release the arms, put the forehead on the floor, turn the head to one side, wiggle loose and relax for a few breaths as everything settles. You do need to take the time to let the body settle after these because they trigger the adrenal glands, and you really want to let that play out some before you continue. So the next backward bending pose we'll do is called the Bow Pose Dhanurasana, and we're going to do Purva Shalabhasana, the east side Bow Pose. The east side is the front of the body, the west side is the back of the body. Normally when people do their hatha practice, they get up in the morning to greet the sun with the sun salutation, and they're facing the east. So the front of the body has become the east of the body and the back side the west. So this is Purva, east-sided boat pose. In a boat, we're making the body into the shape of a keel of a boat. And we rest on the abdomen, not the pubic region. So put the forehead on the floor, have the legs together, and in a starting approach to this, you bring the hands to the buttocks, palms up, one hand on top of the other, and then without bending the knees, you lift the legs off the ground and you push the hands down and lift the head and chest up, and you balance on the abdomen. Breathing into it, you lift with each breath. Now, you can turn this into a Supergirl, Superboy pose, because the traditional pose has the arms stretched out front and lifted up. And you can even start with your arms extended out and lift up, but it's more challenging to get up as nicely, so most times it's nice to start with the hands on the buttocks to start. And as you do this with each breath, you're lengthening as you inhale, and as you exhale, you're letting the body expand. Now, gently down with control, forehead on the floor, arms back next to the hips, wiggle loose, let the heels fall in or out, elbows bend a little, and let go into Advasana. Again, in all the backward bending, you're stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, so you want to give a few moments for that to settle. So the next pose we'll do is called the Bow Pose Dhanurasana. And in the Dhanurasana, we also rest on the abdomen and arch both the upper and lower parts of the body at the same time. But this time, forehead on the floor, please, and bend the knees and reach back and grab hold of one ankle. You can start with the foot, but then slide your hand off the foot onto the ankle or even the shin possibly. And the knees can come apart to get your hands down lower on the leg. The arms are the bow strings, so they're going to stay straight and taut. Now, raise up both halves of the body. Push the legs back into the hands and pull up with the arms. You want your knees about the same height as the shoulders, which means leaning forward a little onto the abdomen rather than backward, when the knees lower down and you're more settled onto the pubic region. And as you breathe here, the same thing. You want to let the spine lengthen. Now, try to bring the big toes closer and the knees a little closer. Normally the arch lessens as you do that, and then pull up again. One other thing you can do before you come out is you can let the head hang and just soften the neck and jaw and face and eyes. And then lift the head up again, looking across the room. Remember, you don't want to crunch the neck back. Pull up once more. And now with awareness, gently down, tuck the chin, forehead on the floor. Float the feet down, turn the head to the other cheek, and just soften into Advasana. Beautiful. So, if you wouldn't mind, Parvati, would you please come to the knees, and we'll demonstrate the Camel Pose. So, on the knees, for this, the knees are a little bit apart, the feet are behind the knees, a little bit apart. Traditionally, it's done with the toes back and the tops of the feet on the floor. However, when you try to do the pose, when we describe how to do it, you may find that it's challenging to take hold of your heels. So you start out upright on the knees, with the knees apart and the feet apart some too. Normally, the tops of the feet are on the floor and the toes are back. However, when you try this at home, if you find that you're unable to reach back and grab hold of the heels, which is what we're about to do, you can curl the toes under, and that lifts the heels up and makes it easier to grab them. If you still can't take hold of the heels, then put the toes back and place the hands on the buttocks, not the small of the back, but the buttocks themselves, and you'll be able to arch back and get many of the benefits of the posture, even like this. So, here we go. Knees are apart, feet are apart, toes are back. Reach back and grab hold of one heel as the abdomen presses forward, then the other. Let the chest and shoulders open up, tighten the buttocks some, and push forward through the pelvis. Let the chest open, the head hang, and breathe into it. This is such an exquisite backward bending pose. In any of the forms we mentioned, however it works for you, you'll find it very beneficial. The breathing's an important element. Now, go ahead, raise up, and you can put the hands down on the floor in front of you for a moment and shake each leg out, just shake loose. Release the lower back, very nice. Some people like to move into the child's pose from this, so you go ahead and sit back in the Balasana and let the head relax down. You can have the child's pose with the arms forward and just everything soft, or you could put the hands back toward the feet and let the chest melt over the legs, the shoulders release like this. Both are wonderful. Whatever's comfortable for you. It's another relaxation posture. Okay, please sit up. Now, another backward bending pose that can be done is the pose that Parvati's in right now. Bring the knees together a little bit. Is called the Pelvic Pose or the Lightning Bolt Pose, the Vadrasana. And you can move from Vadrasana into a lovely backward bending pose where you simply bring the hands back beside you. You're going to come forward on the, yes. Hands back beside you, and then just keep the buttocks on the heels and bring the head down and the chest up. You might bring your hands even closer to the feet and bring the head a little, the chest up a little higher. If you can touch the feet or legs, it closes a circuitry energetically, and the pose has even more powerful benefits for you. And you breathe extra deeply here to expand and work the arch. Tighten the buttocks a little. So this is the Supta Vadrasana, the Supine Vadrasana done as a backward bend. There is another approach. Come up if you don't mind. You put the hands next to you and pull up. And the other approach, which is not a backward bend, but since we're showing this, is you separate the feet and sit in between them. And then put your hands back and just lie down. And let the shoulders release. Try to keep the thighs squeezed together and soften. Your arms can be anywhere, but you just let go. This is an amazing place where you really understand what hatha is, relaxing into a steady effort. It's very easy to notice what that means when you're in this version of Supine Vadrasana. Arms can be stretched overhead as well. It's all just a beautiful pose. Now, if you do this posture regularly, it will return a youthful nimbleness to the body if you've lost that, or maintain one so that you never lose it. It's a very beneficial pose. Put the hands back toward the feet and press up. Thank you. Once again, stretch the legs out and release. So when doing these backward bending poses, as with all the asanas, you want to find a place where you can get into a posture and be comfortable in it. So watch the breath. Let the breath tell you whether you're okay. If you're not breathing comfortably, you need to stop or come out or back off a little. Watch the breath. Also, if you're comfortable in it, the breath will help you go deeper into it. So pay attention to your breathing. The backward bending prepares you for the world about you. We hope you've enjoyed these backward bending postures. Remember, whenever doing any of these postures, you only want to do what's comfortable for you. We want you to practice regularly, steadily, and you do some of these postures, find what works for you, and sometimes work on the postures that don't work for you. But take it easy, be gentle. Okay, have a lot of fun. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to the light. Lead us from the fear of death to knowledge of immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Bless all dimensions of being with peace and joy, love and light. Victory to that light of truth which overcomes all darkness.
Victory to that light.
Jai Sri Sadguru Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
Please bow to the light in yourself. And bow to the very same light in everyone and everything. Hari Om Tat Sat Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Practice. Have fun with your yoga. All love.